touristic city, but you can spend a few days there. It's really nice. And then here we have, we're close to the Netherlands, and this is the closest city, and it's called
I don't even know.
Nijmegen.
Oh, Nijmegen.
Nijmegen. So we always went there for like a day trip. It's really pretty. And then Düsseldorf is really close as well. It's like these, like Cologne and Düsseldorf are the two main cities in that area. So, and 6 reasons why you should study at that university. So it's a really young university. It was founded in 2009, but it was built in 2012 and 2014. So it's really modern. We have really nice labs there. And then another thing is that is really multilingual. The university is always organizing festivals and parties, and also like picnics to get to know each other. And as well, because there are many different cultures, they also celebrate feasts of different religions, and you can join, which is really nice. And then some people cook local food, and it's really, really nice to get to know different cultures. Then we have a buddy program, an orientation day. So they really try to connect the foreigners with the locals, which is really a nice thing, and I would say it works pretty well. And then beside that, we have language courses that are free in, I think, German, English, and Spanish, and sometimes Italian, Japanese, and Russian as well, if I'm right. Yeah, and the location is nice. It's in the middle of Europe, so it's really easy to travel as well, like weekend trips. There's an airport really, really close by. It's an hour, and it has like all these really cheap flights to everywhere in Europe. So you can explore Europe as well, and the surrounding countries, and that's a really nice possibility. So that are the degree programs. I will just read out the English ones, and the German one doesn't really matter for you. So they offer science, communication, bionics, biomaterial science, electrical and electronics engineering, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, and mechatronic system engineering. That's all a bachelor's. And then master programs, bionics and biomatics and mechanical engineering. And then gender and diversity, international business and social science, international relations, international taxation and law, and the Masters of Sustainable Development Management, economics and finance, and communication, information, engineering, environment and energy, information and communication design, international business administration, mobility and logistics. Yeah, and the masters over there. And agribusiness, bioengineering, and sustainable agriculture, and as well biological resources. And that are some of the facts about the semester over there. What is a little bit difficult is that the semester times are a little different. So when I came here to study in this semester, I still had the semester in Germany going on. So I had a few weeks where I had 2 semesters, one in the night and one during the day, and exams in the night. But I mean, it was not too bad. It's still working. And maybe the other way around might be that you have a long break, and then you have a double semester in the end. But it's worth it, though. And yeah, I think that's it.
Is it possible for us to stand, or no? Can we stand? Can we stand? Yeah? Right. You're gonna sit?
Can I ask something about the German universities? When you were talking about the campuses and the bachelor degrees, like, are they available on both campuses?
No, I think most of the courses are in Kleve, and in Kamp Lintfort it's smaller. There are just a few programs, but I can't really tell you which one. I can Google that, though, if you want to know it, what is where. I can tell you after.
So, hallo allemaal, goedemorgen. That's Dutch for the people that don't know how it sounds like. We are both studying in the Netherlands, the northern part of the Netherlands to be exact, in Hanze University of Applied Sciences. I'm Luca and this is Claire. Nice to meet you all.
So today we're going to be taking a look at Hanze University, where we study. Furthermore, we're going to have a brief look or introduction to Dutch culture, some examples of typical Dutch foods, the nightlife in Groningen, very important, and some fun facts about the Netherlands.
So the Hanze University, it's based in Groningen. It's basically the oldest and the largest university in the northern part of the Netherlands. It has almost 30,000 students. 8% of them is international, so that's around 3,000 students that are international. We have 55 bachelor programs. 15 are in English or in German taught, and we have 19 master programs, 12 in English taught, and 8 associate degrees.
So next we're going to be having a little look or introduction to the Dutch culture and what's kind of typical over there, or what you might perceive as being very different. One thing what really stands out, or at least something I had to become familiar with when moving from Germany to the Netherlands, is the manners. And the Dutch people, they're very direct, they're very straightforward with their communication. And some people might perceive it as being a bit rude because they're so straightforward with their opinions. But in the Netherlands, they call it just openness, open-mindedness. They just really express directly what they think. And just Dutch tell it like it is. They're honest and straight to the point. And it's not meant to be rude in any way. It's just their particular style of communication. And next, something that's quite typical is the scheduling in the Netherlands. So don't be surprised if you organize a dinner date with a friend and it might be scheduled 6 weeks in advance. This is something that's quite typical, and you wouldn't usually just stop by someone's house without having planned that in advance. So it's usually collective organizing, or having an agreed agenda collectively in advance. And additionally, conversation. So the Dutch maintain strong eye contact when communicating. And as already mentioned, they're very direct with their speech. Criticism's always welcome, so you can really state, okay, I don't like something, and that will be accepted or taken very well usually. That means like the Dutch, they're not very easily offended with their directness.
So now I'm going to talk about Groningen. That's the place the university is located in. It's the biggest city in the north of the Netherlands. It has 230,000 inhabitants, so that's half of Cuernavaca, I think. 25% of them are students, and as a result, Groningen has the youngest population of the Netherlands. And Groningen is known for its beautiful monuments, such as the Martini Toren, which is oh, sorry, that's the wrong button. I think it's there, no? Is it this one? This one? Oh, there. It's very small in this picture, but I think you can climb it as well, and then you have an overview of the city or the square that's next to it. Yeah, we have a lot of these squares, and there's like markets every Wednesday. So it's very lively, and in a city like this, it's very young, so you would see a lot of people going about their days.
So next we're going to have a look at examples of typical Dutch food. It's not even by the slightest comparable to Mexican food, unfortunately for us. But yeah, just to give you an idea, so what a typical Dutch breakfast could look like. The Dutch like their breads. They like cheese a lot. It's very typical in the Netherlands. And they usually have different toppings, such as peanut butter, chocolate spreads. But you can also see on the picture something I was very surprised by when I moved to the Netherlands: chocolate sprinkles on bread. So they'll have plain bread with some butter and add some chocolate sprinkles. I still don't really understand the concept of it.
It's very nice. You have to try it. I mean, if you like cakes or anything like that, or pies, you have the same sprinkles. Put it on bread. It's gonna taste nice.
Just listen to Luca with that. He knows. And lunch is also not that extraordinary, but I mean, it does the trick. It's similar to the breakfast. Often it's with bread rolls or sandwiches with different cold cuts and cheese. And I think, yeah, some of the most popular are Gouda or Edama. Is it Edama cheese? I'm not such a fan, but
I mean, we have different ages of cheese as well. You know, it's not about the brands; it's about the ripening process and all. We have too many cheeses to name, so.
And then typical Dutch dinner would usually consist out of 2 or 3 courses, usually with an appetizer of some kind of soup. And it's often, yeah, the main course with potatoes, some kind of meat and vegetables, and often some kind of pastries, cookies, sometimes cake for desserts. And the Dutch, they're very keen in stews, especially for the pretty cold winters we have. So one very popular one is called stamppot. I think, Luca, you have to explain that a bit more.
Yeah, so basically stamppot is potatoes and carrots, and they're mashed together most of the time with another vegetable. And they put like the gravy, I think it's called gravy in English, they put gravy over it, and it's very nice for in the winter, for when you're cold and you get inside and your mother has a plate, and it's very, very nostalgic to me, you know, so no, it's a nice dish.
Exactly, and for snacks, just very typical ones you would probably try if you'd go to the Netherlands are, for example, bitterbein. I think it's like meatballs which are fried.
I mean, if you don't want to get fat, don't go to the Netherlands because all the fried food is like it's like all the trashy parts from the meats that are not used in other dishes. They go into the fried food, like the bitterballs. That's how you write it.
Yes, and additionally to that, we also have something called stroopwafels. I think you can pronounce it better than me.
Stroopwafel.
Yes. That's something typically you can get at the Dutch markets. They prepare it freshly for you, and it's like a thin layer of waffle with, I think it's like caramel in between, so it's heated up. It's very nice, very tasty, a lot of sugar. And we also have something called poffertjes, what's like hotcakes, but like a small version of it. And you usually have some powdered sugar over it. And it's also something you can buy freshly prepared at the markets.
So next, the nightlife. Since Groningen has the youngest inhabitants of the Netherlands, with a general age of under 35. The partying is quite a big factor in Groningen. Everybody goes out on Thursdays. That's like the student night there. But also on Fridays and also on Saturdays. So basically, once you go out, you can go out until 5 a.m. because all the bars and clubs, they have like rules against this. They can open and will be open until 5 a.m. So it starts later as well. Everybody goes mostly to like a house party and then goes out to a bar or to a club. To finish the night. And we have the Drie Gezusters, that's this place. It's 3 combined houses. And underneath they have one pub. And it's the biggest pub in Europe. And the terrace here is also part of it. And it's very nice. It's also very crowded. So if you go there on time. As well as the Netherlands, they're famous for their DJs, so we have a lot of festivals where these DJs play live music. We are very into electronic music, so if you don't like it, stay in Mexico for reggaeton, I guess, because reggaeton is very rarely found in the Netherlands, so be prepared for electronic music.
Yeah, and finally we're going to take a look at some fun, kind of random facts about the Netherlands, but yeah, we think they're pretty typical or give a good representation. So first of all, in the Netherlands, sustainability is very big. A lot of the organizations are adapting to the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations. But the Dutch are also really pioneers within wind energy. So for example, the trains within the Netherlands are all powered by wind energy. And every single train within the Netherlands is, yeah, electric in that sense. And with over 600,000 passengers per day, you can imagine it saves a lot of energy. It's very good for the environment, and it's something I think the Dutch are very proud of and very advanced in. And then bikes in the Netherlands. I don't think we actually had a good representation or a picture now showing, for example, what Groningen looks like on a typical Thursday night. But if you go to the main squares and you park your bike, you will not find it again. It's very difficult because there's just bikes everywhere. And also within the city center, you won't see that many cars. It's not really adapted to cars, or they don't really want to have them there. However, you're going to see bikes everywhere. That's like the main traffic jam. And it's, yeah, it takes a while to get used to if you're not familiar to seeing so many bikes and also riding within that bike traffic. And within the Netherlands, we have a population, I think, of around 17 million people, but a total of 22 million bikes, what makes like around an average of 1.3 bikes per person. And that's something you will definitely notice when you're there. It's, yeah, you can't miss out on that. And it's also a necessity within the Netherlands. So most people, you'll see them in their suits cycling to work. That's very common, or to university on campus. We have extra underground parking spaces for all of the bikes. And in average, the Dutch, they will cycle around 2.9 kilometers per day. It doesn't sound that much, but...
it is much if there's wind, and we always have wind, you know?
We always have wind.
And the wind is always against you as well, so if you go back from university, you always have wind. If you go to the university, you have wind.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a workout once you're on the bike.
Definitely, and not just the wind, but also a lot of rain in the Netherlands. So I think my first big investment when moving, or having moved to Groningen, was a good rain jacket. It's something you definitely need for all of the cycling. And yeah, next kind of fun fact is the Dutch height. And we have some of the tallest people in the world living in the Netherlands. The average height for Dutch men is 183, so a tiny bit taller.
Don't look at me. I'm not Dutch, I guess. No, they're all taller than me. I'm like always looking up. You know, look at Brighton. Brighton is also Dutch. He's taller. I feel like he's taller than the average, to be fair.
And yeah, for women, it's around 171, what's basically my height. And according to military records, the average male height within the last 200 years has risen by 20 centimeters. So the Dutch are growing. And also very interesting about the Netherlands is we were the first country to legalize same-sex marriage. And history was made on the 1st of April in 2001, when the Netherlands became the first country worldwide to legalize same-sex marriage. And John Cohen, who was the former president of Amsterdam, married 4 couples at midnight on April the 1st to mark the occasion. And yeah, since then, many same-sex couples have happily tied the knots.
So this was our presentation. All in conclusion, Groningen is the city to study in. We all have a good time there. Yes, we do, Brighton. It's the best place to go in the Netherlands. We have awards. So if you come and visit, we'll show you a good time. Please hit us up. It's a nice place to go to.
Thank you.
Are there questions you guys have for Luca, Claire, Rebecca, Christina? I mean, sorry. No questions.
Well, personally, I've never been to Europe, so my question would be, is there a big difference between Mexican culture and European culture, and is it easy for Mexicans to, how can I say this,
to adjust to the culture, you mean?
Regarding the culture, is there like a big difference between Mexican culture and European culture, and is it easy for Mexicans to
adjust?
Pues no sé, como acoplarse, I don't know, like intertwine between the cultures?
I mean, I think there's a big culture difference in culture because the people are totally different. I feel like if you go to the Netherlands and you know somebody, you get into their circles very easily. But here, if you don't know somebody, everybody's very open towards everybody, you know. And in the Netherlands, we accept everybody. But if you don't have like a friend circle, you would have to make some friends. And I feel like getting that first step into making friends is going to be difficult. But there's so much to do to actually go and create like a friend group there. So people would think about each other.
I just know about my university in special because it's really international there. So there I think 47% internationals. So they're a lot, and many people just are new to Germany, and they organize a lot of events between like the Germans and the internationals and the locals. So it's really easy, and I had like many friends from different countries and university. So I think it was, especially in my university, it's really easy because there's so many internationals and so many offers to meet people.
Thank you.
I think as well, like the biggest thing for Mexicans when you go to Europe is going to be the weather. So if you don't go to a sunny place, be prepared for the worst. You know, rains everywhere, and like. But we have acclimatized very well to that. I think like the roads are proper nice, and you wouldn't have like disturbance because of it. Only on your clothing and stuff, you know. But be prepared for bad weather.
But in the summer, it's getting pretty warm as well. I mean, at least in Germany, we have sometimes 40 degrees, which is pretty hot, and people from other countries normally don't expect that. In the summer, it's really dry. Yeah, and we have no air conditions in Germany. So we don't have any air conditions. So if it's hot, it's really hot everywhere.
Thank you.
No, that was all.
¿Más preguntas? I do have a question for you guys, I guess. What was, when coming here to Mexico, what was like a culture shock or something you guys noticed that was different or something?
Culture shock. I mean, it wasn't really a shock because I've traveled before and I've seen some exotic places. But I like the greenery over here, you know. I feel like the country is so big for my comprehension, so I think the wideness of the country and like the traveling within the country, that was the biggest shock because the Netherlands is so small and we get everywhere with a car in 2 hours, 3 hours. And that's not even to Acapulco from this place, you know, so that's crazy to me. You have to have a flight within the country to get somewhere. So that was the biggest for me.
For me personally, the hardest thing was that I can't walk around alone in the night because I'm really used to that. If I go out in Germany in the middle of the night and then at 4 I want to go home, I just leave and walk 40 minutes till I'm home alone. And I really love that. And that's something what was really hard for me. So I always have to call an Uber when I want to go somewhere. And we also live a little outside, so I'm not walking around here, which is, yeah, really, I'm not used to that at all.
Yeah, I can only agree with Christina. As you mentioned back home, like it's very common with the bikes, and if we go out on a Thursday evening and you get back home at 4 a.m. with your bike, it's completely fine. It's something we're very used to, having that kind of freedom. And that was a bit of adjustment at the beginning when I realized, okay, you can't just cycle around here. Like you really have to rely on Ubers. But I think that was the only thing which I experienced a bit as difficult at the beginning. But other than that, like Luca was saying, just having like the vast diversity of Mexico, of all of these different options of places you can go to and experience something completely different in scenery. That's something I think we all really appreciate here, and we've been able to see quite a lot so far, and I think that's amazing. Back home in the Netherlands, if you travel 3 hours, you're already on the other side of the country, and it's not that diverse in that sense of the kind of adventures you can have in terms of what nature has to offer, and just culturally also the differences within the country. So yeah, it's something I think we really appreciate here.
And one more, not really a question, but if you guys had a tip for the students here when going to the Netherlands or to Germany, what is like one important thing you would advise to them? Besides bringing...
Yeah, I mean, good clothing, you know, against rain, bring umbrellas, you know. Depends on the season when you go, but I feel like going less prepared would be fun because you get like really immersed and you would see like the differences. And I feel like the differences are what make the traveling more fun, though, because otherwise you would stay in your own country. So I don't really have like preparations you guys could do.
If there's like some special stuff you like to eat that we don't have in Europe, you should bring it because you will miss your food. pretty sure about that. And
So bring your Valentinas.
bring your and spicy and spicy candies because we don't have that.
But I think other than that, at least for the Netherlands, the best thing you can do is just be yourself, because the Netherlands, like the people there, I experience them as incredibly open-minded. And when you get to know them, they're very warm. As said, they will tell you their opinion. They're very direct with that. But I think as a society, we're very accepting and welcoming. So it's worth visiting, and no need to be scared. Maybe of the weather a little bit, because as said, it really is quite a contrast. But other than that, just be yourselves and have the courage to do it. Acknowledge it will be quite different at the beginning, but over time, people are accepting and welcoming.
Yeah, thank you. You guys have any question? Last time questions, maybe? Yeah. Sure.
Regarding the economic factor, are your cities like cheaper than most European cities, or they are as expensive or as, I don't know, as other European cities?
I mean, in general, everything is more expensive. I mean, we have a big housing crisis in the Netherlands right now. So like all the house prices are up, but the rent is high. But if you go to the smaller cities, I think that is doable, but you wouldn't stay in the city you actually study in, so you have to travel by bus. But at the same time, I feel like everybody here travels so much already, so like time-wise, it wouldn't make that big of a deal for you guys. And like for eating and stuff, you can make it very cheap and go to the snack bar and get bitter balls, and they're gonna taste good and they're gonna be cheap, but it's not like nice food to have every day, you know?
In Kleve, it's a little different because it's a really small town and a little outside of a little outside. So it's probably one of the cheaper university cities. So I literally paid the same in Kleve than I pay here, like right now. But I had a really, really cheap apartment. So you can be lucky to find cheap stuff, but in general, it's more expensive than here. And also food is more expensive, especially right now. The prices are rising because of the war in Ukraine. Every food is getting more expensive. But if you're a real student, you will just eat pasta all day long and at least 5 times a week, and that's that's still affordable.
Thank you.
As a student, we ate a lot of maruchan, or noodles. Noodles? The noodles, yeah, maruchan. Noodles. It's very common for me, at least. I want to... Oh.
Yeah, I would like to ask, do you like Mexican food? And like, what's your favorite dish?
Of course I like Mexican food. That's one of the reasons I got here. It's the climate and the food. In the Netherlands as well, always for my birthday I'll go out to eat. It's Mexican or Indian, but I like Mexican. My favorite dish, that's a hard one because most of the food here is nice. But I would say fish tacos. I like those, the shrimp ones. I prefer those above the rest. So.
Yeah, I can only agree with Luca. Like the food here compared to the Netherlands, as you saw, it's very, very good. And there's so much variety, what I really appreciate within it. I think, as Luca said, fish tacos. We were recently in Puerto Escondido, and we tried very, very nice ones there. I think that was my favorite dish so far.
Same. But it was another fish taco, though. I think you went to another place, but the shrimp taco was amazing. And I also like spicy food, so that's really nice. And tacos in general, it's just good. Oh, tostadas, true.
Then you can say every dish. We'll be like, yeah.
Pozole, birria.
Yes.
No, I want to thank you guys for coming and presenting about your country and about your school. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned a little bit about Europe, no? It's very important for internationalization department where I'm doing my my final internship. Not to, for you guys, I mean, for you guys coming here, you guys learn so much about Mexico and communicate with the students here, but it's also important for them, I guess, to, you know, learn a little bit about Europe as well for when they want to go do their exchange abroad. We have a little something for you guys. It's a certificate, and I'm gonna read it out. It's in Spanish though, but it's fine. Otorga el presente reconocimiento, and then your names, por su valiosa participación en la conferencia Studying in the Netherlands and Germany, Feria de Internacionalización Uninter 2022, Cuernavaca, Morelos. And I have the three of them here for you guys, and we can also take a picture, no? Yeah? ¿Y una foto también? Can I take a photo? You stand up and you guys can show it or turn it around. Yeah, I can open it, turn it around, and then. So personally, I'm doing my final internship here, and I need some feedback from you guys about you guys' experience for the internationalization department. So I have a little encuesta. I say encuesta, a survey. If you guys can scan it, and then this is very short, like 2 or 3 minutes. Just fill it in, and then if you guys want, yes.